Lawyer Osman Ayariga, and he is a deputy youth leader for the National Democratic Congress, practicing lawyer. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Roland. How are you doing?
I'm well. Chairman of the Ghana Energy Awards, consultant for the energy sector. Ideally, he should be working briskly in the sector as well. We need to use more of his resources, contribute to national discussions as well, and his expertise. Lawyer Kwame Janto, I say good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Please do. These are your questions. They are new, but you have a trending one about some questions you were posed. It's always these days. I'm always on TikTok, right? Sometimes the views you can accumulate on TikTok. Sometimes I keep wondering. Mr. Happiness has also made it a place to be. What questions do you have?
I don't understand. You proffer your opinion.
Yes.
Everybody has an opinion, and everybody has a political vehicle that they support. Why is it that when you proffer an opinion and some people don't agree with it, they insult you?
I keep wondering.
Why? Somebody sent me a Facebook page on something I said with regards to this ongoing
Hotel?
SSNIT hotel. Oh, it's my opinion. You to proffer your opinion. And quite a number of them insulted me, insulted my sister, and insulted my family too.
Yeah.
I asked myself, if you don't agree with me, why should you insult me? Because you have proffered your opinion. I haven't insulted you.
Yeah.
So why are you insulting me? I don't understand. Is that what we understand by politics in this country?
It's
I'm not saying
surprising.
everybody, but some people. Why? Why?
Surprising. The most insult, I don't know, I'm told it's vulgar. Wouldn't it try something?
Yes.
I think it's something they copy from their pages, and especially on Twitter, I get insulted all the time.
Why?
Wouldn't it try something?
I don't understand why. It's ideas.
Does it get to you sometimes?
It doesn't get to me. I just try to understand why Ghanaians would.
So you have developed kaku skin?
It's not a question of developing kaku skin. You know, we all want to build a nation called Ghana. We all have our different ways of looking at how the nation can be built. And if one feels that, no, the way we are going is not right, you should be able to either criticize or critique where we are going and proffer your own solutions. But where does the insult come in?
Yeah,
that is what I don't understand.
You know, when you say the truth, people always attack you.
It doesn't get to me, but I just ask myself, why would anybody want to insult anybody? Why?
Money says I should tell you that, Lawyer Jantua, it is normal social media thing. Don't worry, it is not personal. So it is not personal. Okay,
but
so
is that what social media should be?
It's part of the rules of engagement on social media.
Is that why social media came?
So this one, we have Larry on our Facebook says, MPP full soldiers on Twitter have been calling for the boycott of TV3 Ghana. So I wasn't surprised when their reps failed to show up. I won't be surprised if they don't show up. Today they're not here. Anyway, that's okay. We'll go through. Prince Johnson Kuma, Niboy Jefferson, all of you who have joined us, we're grateful. Ampon Sem, Ose Frimpong, Nelson Akotia, good morning to you. And then Gukwo Williams. And, well, let's get some insights. We'll be talking about the responses of Bryan Champong to what Okujeto has been doing, even culminating in a demonstration. He came into the studios and said that there's an ultimatum he's giving. He's even going to organize one in the central region, etc. But Bryan Champong, who is the person at the center of all this, because he's the shareholder when it comes to the Rock City hotels, has been responding swiftly. We'll bring you that. Mania Brifo spoke to him in Parliament.
You are
not making losses. Yes.
Rock City is not making losses. There is no one anywhere who can say that Rock City is making losses. I saw Okujeto and Samijemfi in the studio exaggerating. He was exaggerating that Rock City is making losses and that he has intercepted documents from GRA.
Claim to have.
He was categorical.
With 2023.
Were intercepted documents.
Yes.
Emma serial number, Emma file number.
They have not filed yet. Rock City has not even gone to GRA. Their plans is to file at the end of the month. So where did he get the document from?
I'm daring you. I'm daring you.
Formal invitations from the chiefs and people of the central region. They say that they are impressed with what the Ghana chiefs have done here. They want their own showdown. Clearly, from President Akufo-Addo, that he's stopping this transaction. Our next action will be in the central region. They want Elmina Beach Hotel protected. Already, Edina Traditional Council, or Manhini Kojo Kondia, has written formally to protest against the sale. The people of Cape Coast, Ogwa, who are complaining about.
Well, ultimately, it would also mean that he will also be invited by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. Now, Mahamudu Yakubu on our Facebook show, you said, I'm always commenting and greeting, sir. You never responded to me. I have. What do you make of this? Look, we saw a culmination all coming to a head in that demonstration. We covered it live on TV3 Ghana across our streams as well. The rebut is that you're doing too much of this, and that your past government officials also have state assets in their name. So, I mean, why are you trying to call a dog a bad name? Osman Ayariga.
Roland, good morning to you and good morning to your cherished viewers. I realize every time you come here, you decide to greet Mr. Combat of Boko.
Salifu Combat, yeah. You know him?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm from Boko. So
oh, okay.
So let me also say good morning to him, because it seems every time I'm greeting people from my hometown, I'm not greeting. Okay. So good morning to him.
Yeah, because he's my great friend.
Great. And one last thing I'd want to say, one of my constituency youth organizers was involved in an accident yesterday, and he broke his leg. A Tamale North constituency youth organizer, Ali Du Mohammed. I wish him a speedy recovery. I'll be visiting him to find out how he's doing. Roland, first and foremost, I would want to doff my hat for our Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Honorable Okuchato Ablakwa. Quite apart from that, the thousands of people who came out organically in their numbers to protest against the sale of these hotels. Not just the sale of these hotels, but also to keep off some lands, the sale of some lands in the Greater Accra region and other regions and other places of this country. These numbers came out in their own accord. They came out organically. They came out to protest. And this is what the youth of this country should be doing. And that is why I will doff my hat for all the people that came out in their numbers on that fateful day. Most of them had work to do, they had other engagements to do, but they came out to make sure that they registered their displeasure against the sale and the looting of state assets. Roland, before I even go into the response coming from Bryan, I think for the sake of some viewers, I should just go through shortly some chronological events. What we need to understand is that Honorable Bryan, the Minister for Agriculture, is a public officer. By virtue of the fact that he's the minister and also he is a member of parliament. And the 1992 Constitution, as enshrined, stipulates the acts that public officers should act so that it is not contradictory or should not be of conflict of interest in their own responsibilities. Now, if you look at Article 78, 3A and B, it reads and permits me, a minister of state shall not hold any other office of profit or emolument, whether private or public, and whether direct or indirectly, unless otherwise permitted by the Speaker, acting on the recommendations of a committee of Parliament on the ground. A, that holding that office will not prejudice the work of a minister. And B, which is more important, that no conflict of interest arises or would arise as a result of the minister holding that office. Then let me take you to Article 284. 284, Code of Conduct for Public Officers, conflict of interest. And it reads, a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office.
How does this come in here, this transaction? Osman Ayariga.
I'm coming to that. I'm taking you to the antecedent. Then I'll hit the point. Then I'll make my point. Then you know where I'm going and how I'm getting there. Clearly, it defines what conflict of interest is. where as a public officer, you do not put your personal interest ahead of the office that you hold. Bryan Achampong is a minister of state, and by so doing, you are also supposed to protect public purse. You're supposed to protect public property. You're supposed to govern and to make sure that Ghanaians are put in a better position than they are. That is part of your responsibility as a public officer. 2, Bryan Achampong is also the owner of the Rock City Hotel. I hear people try to, bring in the principle behind Solomon versus Salmon, where you have, the company is a separate legal entity from the person. That is true. But let's not forget that Bryan Achampong is the sole shareholder, 100% shareholder of Rock City Hotel. And he's also the beneficial owner of Rock City Hotel. What it means is that invariably, anything that happens to Rock City Hotel, at the end of the day, he is the owner and he benefits everything that comes from Rock City Hotel. So if Rock City Hotel is making a loss, he obviously is making a loss because he's the sole shareholder, 100%. The other director is just a director without shares, and I think she's also the secretary. You are also the Minister of State. Now, there's also the question of whether or not you have actually disclosed this profit-making entity to Parliament. I did hear his response that his business precedes even when he got into Parliament. But if you read the Constitution, it didn't say you only declare to Parliament if you started that business at the time you were a member of Parliament. What it says is that once you are a Minister of State, so if you look at the Constitution,
that's 78.3.
Yes, means that once you become Minister of State, you ought to declare. So it doesn't mean that if you are running a cold store business or you are running chain of businesses and today you are minister, you will not declare.
But his argument is that he doesn't play a role in the day-to-day administration. And even on the current substantive issue, he has sublet that function to an assign.
That's why I said you may not be running the day-to-day activity of the hotel. Directors most of the time don't run the day-to-day activity of the hotel, but they make critical decisions because you have a board and you are part of the board. And you in most of the cases, you are the board chairman. Because once you are the sole shareholder, 100% shareholder, you may see that position of board chairman. But your decision matters. And once you say it is A, because you are the 100% shareholder, you actually make decisions for the hotel. So yes, there is a management, and management reports to the board. And board authorizes anything that the management or ratifies any actions of the management. So management cannot take a decision or an action without the authorization of the board. And you are the board. You are the 100% shareholder of the company. So I see
that duty to other individuals.
You can assign that duty to other individuals, but you have decided to. Then you bring us to the issue of you delegating. Now, what it tells you is that you still have that power, but you're delegating that power. So anything that person does, the person is doing it on your behalf. So at the end of the day, vicariously, you are responsible and you are liable because you are the one making the decisions. Because you are the 100% shareholder. That is what people need to understand. You understand? So let us not try to decouple Bryan Achampong from his Rock City Hotel. I understand the principle of separate legal entity, but don't forget that when you are also the majority shareholder, and in this case, you are the 100% shareholder of that company, you take decisions for the company. You may not be the one implementing it because you are not part of management, but you are responsible for the decisions that it takes. Just as Nanado has told us that he is the president and he's responsible for everything and anything that happens in this country. Yes, they are not coterminous, but I'm also telling you that ultimate responsibility, ultimate decision stands with you, the majority shareholder, who is a 100% shareholder of that company. So you cannot run away from decisions. You cannot run away from actions and inactions of the company because at the end of the day, it comes back to you as the majority shareholder, as the sole shareholder, and as the owner of the company. At the end of the day, as a beneficial shareholder and 100% shareholder, if they are paying dividends, who would it go to? Would it come to you and I? No, it will come to you, the 100% shareholder. So at the end of the day, the interest and the profits or proceeds, if you decide to pay dividends, comes to you. So what it means is that you stand to benefit from every action and inaction of your hotel. Now, SSNIT decides to divest most of its shares so far as the hotels are concerned. Now, there's the question of the processes. there's also the question of you being a minister of state. You sit in cabinet, and these are state assets. Such major decisions will surely come to cabinet. Now, did you even declare your interests? That's one. Did you even recuse yourself? That is two. And at the end of the day, you realize that you as a minister of state, with your shares in Rock City Hotel, decide to acquire these hotels. There's also the question of whether it is actually prudent for those hotels to be sold by SSNIT or their shares to be sold by SSNIT. Then you also go into the argument of what Labadi Hotel did to be able to revamp that entire hotel. Not only Labadi Hotel, also the Ridge Royal in Cape Coast. So you realize that it is not a situation where it's not salvageable. It can be salvaged. Now, the other question is whether it's actually prudent for them to offload or sell those shares. And the answer is no. We could have decided to contract management. And that is what every business does. If a business is not doing well, the first option or the first choice is not to sell off the business or not to sell off your shares. You try to find out what the issues are. You try to look at management, because there's an issue of management. Because you look at Labadi Beach Hotel, which is doing well, and its next door neighbor, which is La Palm Royal Beach, which is doing extremely bad. Then you ask yourself that what is this issue? Then you realize that it's an issue of management. You know what, Roland? In this entire setup, what this reminds me of is time past PDS, where you realize that government decides to offload, and no, you realize the government decides to offload or decides to sell its.
Why this PDS scenario?
This reminds me of PDS because you see, when you also look at the kind of transaction Bryan is seeking to go into government, it is not looking as an outright sale. It's not an outright purchase where he's going to gather all the $61 million cash, come and take the $61 million, and I take over the shares. He's seeking to pay a percentage of it, and I hear he's paying just about $5 million of it. Then the rest will now be paid in installments as he works and generates revenue.
It's a transactional decision made by the board of SSNIT.
There's absolutely everything wrong with that. You are ripping off the pensions, you and I who are paying pensions. This is simply a rip-off, and this is simply shortchanging SSNIT. If SSNIT thinks that it is time for us to offload our shares, we should be interested in how much cash they are going to generate automatically or at an instance. Not telling us that he's going to pay, I think, about 10% of it, and the rest of it will now be paid as and when the hotel generates money. Then it brings us to the point that even selling it is not prudent, because then, of course, you could have contracted the management and then generated enough revenue from it. So clearly, this is a classical case of loot and share in this current government. And not only are they looting hotels, you look at state lands. Today, you drive along Ridge, you realize that most of the government properties have been sold out. We'll
come back, because as part of our rounding up question is to take a look at that, because as I said, the rebuttal is that you find that politically exposed persons on the side of the NDC also. We'll take a look at that.
Whether NDC or MPP, any public officer who seeks to purchase, especially maybe his government bungalow, or purchase or buy state assets or property, it is wrong. Whether NDC, MPP, PNC, CPP, APC, based on principle, what is wrong is wrong. The Honorable Bryan should be interested in the prices of tomatoes that is going up, the prices of pepper that is going up.
That's his role as minister.
Yes, the price of onions that is going up, and not the prices of hotels. That is what he should, as minister, that is what he should be interested in.
Well, also just joining us, we have Nana Yao Sapong. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Yeah.
Good morning. It's been a while.
Movement for change, yes. It's been a while. I went off to tackle some major family crisis. I'm back. How are you? You look good.
Yeah, you look good yourself.
It looks like you can't shake off the blue.
Of course, that is your mind, but this is just to depict the fact that, and of course, what you're wearing, that Alan was the brain behind African wear and has created a lot of jobs.
Great response to my question.
I have one yellow.
Now, what's your own observation so far as you've been watching the arguments, this I have to say collision course, Okujeto Ablakwa decided to find himself with Bryan Champo, and now, of course, the SSNIT board. And now we know the issue before Shraj. And culminating in this big demonstration that was convened this week.
Thank you very much, Roland. And in fact, my serious apologies to your viewers. I mean, yes. Bryan and the hotel saga.
What does Alan Chamartin think about it? And you also.
What do I think about it? I'm here in person as Nanaya Sapa, so take my views. And what I think about it is that, one, Bryan is a politician. First of all, he belongs to a political party. Bryan is a cabinet minister. Of course, if you look at where the position he's holding as the agric minister, he's a cabinet minister. Bryan is a citizen of Ghana. You understand? Now, this is a 3-in-1 person. So he has a responsibility in any decision he is taking, either to look at himself as a politician, a cabinet minister, a citizen, and someone who belongs to a political party. Rock City, I am told that Rock City, Bryan is a 100% shareholder. I have not been able to delve into it, whether or not he is. But at least it's public knowledge.
It's public knowledge that he's all the shares have been
now,
to him.
it is also public knowledge that Bryan is a director. He says non-executive. It means that he is not into operational management. Good. Now, when you have lifted the veil, behind Rock City is Bryan. Now, is Bryan in the position to bid or buy these hotels? Yes, of course. I mean, as a citizen, as a businessman, of course, he is. But then, is Bryan in a position of influence that can turn things around in his favor as against other bidders?
How can he do that?
Yes, he is. It is his party that is in power. He's a cabinet minister. He's a member of parliament. Whoever the members of the board of SSNIT are, Bryan is in the position to influence all of these people. If Bryan was an ordinary citizen who was going to bid and buy these hotels, I do not have a problem. And Roland, that is what would lead us into asking the question as to whether or not our laws have a definite definition for corruption.
You don't think our laws have definite definitions for corruption?
If it did.
And who is politically exposed to be corrupt?
And if it did, and the words were clear and explicit, I think that Bryan would have thought otherwise, going in with his company to purchase these hotels. Corruption does not just end at taking money from government coffers or wasting. Some people don't even define wasting man hours as corruption, or using man hours which you are being paid for doing other things as corruption. But when you are in the position of influence, and you are able to use that position against or to your own advantage as against others, in my view, it is corruption. Now, would the story have been the same if Bryan was not a cabinet minister and a member of parliament? Would he have been in the position of winning? I've heard this whole debate about Rock City making a lot of profits and all that. They've never made losses. Excellent. From where I'm coming from as a management student, I am always excited when indigenous local businesses are making it and they are making a lot of money. But their way of making profit, is it sustainable? See, almost every high top government program or event, we are told from Parliament, even his own colleagues from both sides make cases for him that, listen, we have a member of Parliament, a colleague of ours, who has a hotel that is big enough to accommodate us. Let us go and...
What's your point with that? It's a normal business. Are
It's
you
a normal
reading
business.
some influences from...
So now, what happens to the business when he's out of power?
Are you threatening him?
No.
That when he's out of power, Rocks will not get
would we still
accommodation?
go to hold government programs and functions at Rock City? We have seen these before. That persons who are in positions of influence in government, directing businesses to their private institutions, and then after their government, their party's out of power, their businesses go down. Roland, we should look at the sustainability of the sources of these things, whether or not it's sustainable. But my point I'm making is this. If I were Bryan, I will not venture into these things. Ghanaians are tired of persons in power who uses their positions of influence to take things that belongs to us. What management skill are they using at Rock City and other viable hotels in Ghana that we are not able to transfer those skills and knowledge into managing state-owned hotels?
Good question.
Do we not have experts who can actually invest in knowledge to be able to at least keep these hotels running?
Zabon, wrap up for me.
This is a bad case. I think that Bryan should do the honorable thing. And Roland, you see, the funny aspect of this thing is, if not for the fact that there was this heat in this vice presidential race, I don't think that this whole hula balloon about the hotel would have come up.
Okay. I posed a question on our stream, and I just asked simply, is he not entitled, is Bryan Acheampong not entitled to operate a business, even if with approval, with the processes in relation to what the constitutional article says in 78, etc., get the approvals and all that, run a business of profit? Just because he's a politician, he can't do that, and that puts him in a conflict of interest situation.
Good morning to our viewers. When you take a political position, what's the first thing they ask you to do?
You swear.
Apart from
Allegiance.
swearing.
Asset declaration.
Asset declaration. Declare your assets. Because we don't want a situation where you now come in and you're, if I can use the word, it's the right way, sequestering government properties and government things. Look, I have a list here. Let me go through the list. Aboso Glass Factory, a glass factory that produced all the glass products needed in Ghana. Akosombo Dam and Akosombo Textile Limited, a dam and textile factory that provided electricity and jobs. Asuchari Sugar Factory and Bokrum Estate, a sugar factory and estate that provided sugar production and housing for workers. Balkatanga Meat Processing Factory, a factory that promoted local meat processing. Balkatanga Rice Mill Factory, a factory that boosted domestic rice production. Kade Match Factory, a factory that contributed to local production and reduced import dependency. My father, F.A. Jantua, his brother, KSP Jantua, Kesley Hayford, all these ministers of Nkrumah, they could have bought this, couldn't they?
Well, true. If they wanted to.
If they wanted to. But it was for country. It was for country. And the ironical thing is that all these factories, that was for country. Today, which one is standing? Did you not sell to the private sector? The only one standing there is the Akosombo Dam. That's the only one standing. So there's no proof that if you privatize, or you sell it to a private person, it would move forward and do better. But remember, Merchant Bank, what is it today? What's the Merchant Bank today? It's a new name.
Universal Merchant Bank.
Universal. Agri Development Bank. These two, what happened? They nearly went bankrupt, didn't they? Did we sell it to private people? Did we? We didn't sell to private people. But it's come back. ADB is now strong. UBA is not UBA. UMB is also strong. So what are we talking about? And remember, Bryan Champon will have 60% share. His control of management, his control of decision making.
By who of the shareholdership?
By the shareholdership. And down the road, he can buy all the other shareholders out. Who would have lost? Isn't it Ghana? But the president said, if you want to do business, go to the private sector, not in my government. So, why are we getting this ironical stance where we don't even hear him say anything? And the only thing we hear him say is that unions go and sit with SSNIT board and discuss with them. Have you heard anything else apart from that? So, if really this particular issue of SSNIT selling its hotels is really the main issue, take the profitable ones out. Take Labadi Beach out and take the Royal, Ridge Royal, take that out because they are already making profits. They shouldn't be part of it. If you say you want to, you are not making money, take it out and let's see what happens. Let's see if all this hula baloo would continue.
So you're saying the profitable ones, even at all, if that is the position that they want to go ahead with the acquisition, they should take them out.
They should take them out. They should take them out. And let's see what happens. Labadi Beach, did they not post a profit?
Yes.
Huge profit.
Indeed, over the last 2 years before their last account, they paid dividends.
Yes. Paid
the last one was 25 million.
Huge
Ghana
dividends.
6.
The other one, the Royal, in Elmina, they also are making a profit. Now, maybe you'll be able to tell me, where does the Blay brothers come in? If it's the Blay family or the Blay brothers come in with regards to the beachfront of Labadi? Where does that come from? Is it true? It's true, isn't it? It's part and parcel of what we're talking about. Where does that come from? Have you seen a hotel on the beachfront that doesn't have a beach?
Please say that.
It's
again.
part of an attraction. Have you seen a hotel on the beach that doesn't have a beachfront? It's part of the attraction. I've been outside. I've been to hotels, slept in hotels with beachfront hotels. And boy, but the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning after having breakfast is go to the beach.
But Labadi Beach, we're told, hotel doesn't have access to its beachfront because it doesn't own it. Well, if we want to peruse the court documents and things.
Well, let's peruse it and see. But I don't see a hotel that doesn't have a beachfront.
If you go there in reality, you don't even have access to the beachfront.
There's I'm not sure whether it's a hotel. I think it's a small hotel near the ministries. When you cross over the Ministry of Industry, when you cross over the road and you go where you have the agriculture.
You mean the opposite the SEPS area?
Yes, the SEPS area. There's a hotel there, right on the beach.
Ghana Club 100 area.
Yes, Ghana Club 100 area. And people go there just because of the beach. The food is good, yes, but they go there just because of the beach. So if SSNIT really wants to do this, there are certain options they could have taken. Who owns the hotels? Isn't it the shareholders? Who are the shareholders? Isn't it the people of Ghana who pay their SSNIT contributions? Shouldn't they be giving the first refusal? Offer the first refusal? Did that happen? No, it hasn't happened. SSNIT itself, could they not have, in fact, have they told us the reasons why these hotels have been making losses? Have they told, do you know? I don't know, maybe you've heard. You would have thought that they would come and say, look, A, B, C, D, E is what is happening with these hotels. You are not be able to do this, not be able to do that. So, you know, we need to try and bring them back, outlining the challenges that are there. And these two hotels that are doing well, Labadi Beach and the other one, they have management. Why don't you offer it to their management to say, look, you've done well with yours. Help us bring these ones back. Isn't that an option? Why do they have to sell 60% of their share? Because the next thing you hear, politicians have taken over in terms of the balance of shares that are there. And unfortunately, like the TUC guys on the board who decided not to say anything, and nobody knows why they decided not to say anything. And I wouldn't want to, offer a reason, because the reason that I might offer, it might
Let's wrap up in 2 minutes.
It might land me in court. So, so far as I'm concerned, we need to look at this because there is definitely conflict of interest where Honorable Bryan Champong is concerned.
How?
My good friend has just said it. He's in cabinet. Are you trying to tell me that they don't discuss this in cabinet? Is that trying to tell me?
You mean the decision of the SSNIT
Are you
board?
trying to tell me SSNIT has decided to do this? The president is in cabinet. The president won't ask the minister responsible. What is SSNIT trying to do? He will not ask. He does not care. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
While Mr. Bryan Champong is sitting in the meeting?
Exactly. While cabinet is meeting.
He's talking about cabinet. Where would Bryan Champong?
Yes, well, as cabinet is meeting. So if Bryan Champong is sitting on the table and they are discussing this, will the president ask him, Bryan, what are you trying to do? What you're trying to do in the Constitution says it's conflict of interest. Will the president ask him? Or has the president asked him? I don't think the president has, if it has come up during cabinet. That is where I ask the question. Has the president got vicarious interest in this particular situation? Look, we need to build a nation. And with some of the things the president has done, this back to, what was it called? Back to the American thing that he did.
Return?
Return to what?
Year of return.
Year of return.
Year of return. Now it's beyond the
Beyond the return. Has exposed Ghana, has opened Ghana, has made Ghana what?
An attraction.
An attraction. We need hotels. Bryan Champong's hotel, where is it? In Price, isn't it?
Yeah, Eastern region.
Eastern region. It has how many rooms?
It's supposed to top up optimum when they finish 600 rooms.
1,000 rooms. What tourist attraction is in that area?
Sight and sound.
What
vegetative
what tourist attraction? So all these people coming,
Easter. You haven't gone to Easter.
all these people coming in, from the good thing that the president did, coming coming back home thing. When they come, is that the first place they'll go to? Is that the first tourist site they'll go to? Is it a tourist site? If his hotel was in Accra, maybe different, scenario. It's an price. So how many visitors will go there? Look, for me, if Honorable Bryan Champong feels he needs, and from what he was saying from the interview they gave him, he seems to have hotels fitted everywhere, but I don't think he has a strong presence in Accra. If he feels he wants a hotel in Accra, he seems to have the wherewithal to do what? To build. He should build his own hotel. I mean, if I were him, I would say, all this wahala, I don't want. Take it. Forget it. Let me keep my sanity. I have the money to build my own. Let me build my own and prove to you guys that what I build will be better than what you people are talking about. So I would advise him, Honorable, just get out of this thing and have your peace of mind.
Okay, just in 3 minutes as you wrap up on these subjects. At the end of the day, now, Okujeto Ablakwa, this week, we had an interaction. He has been threatening. He's even going to organize another one in the central region. So that means that you want SSNIT to take the decision as quickly as possible, and then that final ultimatum will be coming from SSNIT whether they want to conclude on this or not.
Yes, we will call on every youth of this country. This is not an NDC or CPP or PNC matter. This is the matter about the soul and future of this country. This is about the pensions of you, I, Mr. Janto, and our brother here. These are pensions of everybody in this country. So we calling on people to join us on the streets to make our protest known. It's not a call on NDC members to join. I've heard some people try to politicize it because it's coming from Honorable Okujetu Ablakwa. This is a call on all citizens to join, and we'll continue to protest. Just to chip in, you listen to the arguments coming from especially the MPP side, and they try to let it look as though Honorable Bryan and the Rock City are doing this country a favor by actually purchasing or trying to purchase these hotels. No, this is clearly a scheme to loot this country. This is clearly a scheme.
If you listen to SSNIT, you read their statement, they went through processes. Of course, the arguments from Okujetu Ablakwa about whether
the processes, of course, as part of the reasons why we are questioning them.
Yes.
We do not trust the process, and that's why we are actually petitioning SSNIT, because we realize that the processes is from the evaluation, etc., hasn't been transparent, it hasn't followed due process, and that is part of the petition. So it's not as if we don't know what we're doing. We are petitioning the entire transaction, also petitioning even the individual as being a public officer and trying to position himself in a conflict of interest position. And that is what we are calling for. So we are calling on every youth and every person, every member, every traditional council. Very soon we'll be going to the central region. And we are calling on everybody in the central region, whether young or old, chiefs, students, queen mothers, traditional leaders, market women, anybody who has contributed his contributions to SSNIT. This is a clarion call on everyone to join the protest, to join us on the street, to make our demands known. And we shall not relent. We shall not relent until we see true finality to this matter.
You have only 1 minute.
Yes, so as we're saying, Bryan is not doing us a favor by purchasing these hotels under the auspices that the hotels are not doing well, etc., etc. And we will not also sit back and allow people who promise to protect the public purse actually steal the purse and all the content in that purse. That we shall not sit back and watch, because these are state assets that we expect from generation to generation. It should be handed over to the next generation. So if you have a particular generation trying to loot, steal, and purchase all of these assets of the country, then what it means is that tomorrow you and I, our children, will have nothing to hold on to. And don't forget that report from ILO, which of course SSNIT has decided to contest, saying that if you are not careful, in the next 10 years, SSNIT will not actually be liquid enough to pay
1 minute is up.
SSNIT contributions, yes.
Nana Sapong, whilst you take your 1 minute, let's look at where finally you want this decision to rest from SSNIT, following or after the Shraj investigations. I mean, what should be the ideal position?
Listen, in my view, Senate contributors should have been given the opportunity to make this decision. It is our money.
They are represented on the board.
It is our money. And they should have given us the opportunity to help in making these decisions. I believe that there are some financial institutions in Ghana who would have come together to form a sort of a consortium to have invested in these hotels. Now, surprisingly, Roland, these hotels are strategically located.
How so?
Oh, Labadi BBC. Your mama says, let's be honest. It is strategically located. By the beach, access to the central business district, to the airport, the environment you spoke about. And across the world, I believe that there are very big hotels that are being owned by consortiums of financial institutions, all right? And I believe that it is not only the Rock City that had interest. They should actually let us understand the processes that went into the selection of Rock City. the voices of Ghanaians are speaking, and we are saying that we do not trust the process that it went through. Let them bring it up in the open. Let us understand the processes. And if we have any other commentary, then we would run it. But I believe that tourism is an attractive sector, that if we are able to package it well, we would have people who would invest in tourism. And in my view, this is a bad case. Honorable Bryan should do himself good. Let us not go about this whole hula balloon. He's a businessman. I understand where he's coming from. But I think that sometimes you just have to allow certain businesses go.
He's in government. Just a quick one. If the demonstration doesn't make an impact, they decide that demonstration, we are still going on. For me, before even a court injunction comes in, let them seek audience with the president. Put it to him face to face.
The conveners?
Yeah, the conveners, the chiefs, anybody. All the people who have shown that they are against this, the chiefs, the conveners, let them seek.
You think the president will give audience to Okujeto Ablakwa, the lead convener?
Isn't he a Ghanaian?
I'm asking. It's a question.
He's a Ghanaian. He is part of governance. And it's the president's duty to listen to the people he serves. So, if before they decide to go to court, they should seek audience with the president. When the president talks, we will all hear, and we will know where he stands, and then we know the next step forward. If this doesn't work.
Okay.